What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACC 339.0, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Good evening, guys. How you doing? Welcome to another What's on Your Mind. I am Carl. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV. Let me say thank you for tuning in. This is a live stream. Right here, we're going out now live, so don't forget to share the program. Let me say thank you for tuning in. I want to say thanks for all you guys with your response from the last show. Let me say massive respect. Let me say thank you. And thanks for all the love that you've actually shown. Please continue to do this, yeah? I also want to big up my special guest last week, Diagra. And he says you can pronounce that name so different. You know what I mean? He's been called so many different names. He says he's been called Diagra. He's even been called Viagra. But I'll actually leave that one to him. When I say it was great to have him in the studio, you know what I mean, and chatting us. The program, as I say, has changed up a little bit. It's still what's on your mind. And, but I've put couple of different things in it, you know what I mean? And I'm going to have a little rant at the end. My rant, something I really want to rant about, which I haven't heard. Anybody mentioned this wonderful lady, you know what I mean? So I'm going to have a little rant. So we're at the end of the show, you know what I mean? Let me say thanks to all you guys for tuning in the United States. Big shout out to you. Also, big shout out to you, Rose Jade, Michelle, Sean, Colin, big shout out to you. Hella, Hector, big shout out to you. My own family, there's so many of us that I can't shout of you all. If I shout you all, I'll be here all night. But you guys know who you are. I still send the love to wherever you are, you know what I mean? Canada, Jamaica, Birmingham, United States, you know what I mean? Italy, my good friends in Italy. I know it's hot over there. I know it's very hot over there. And some of you have gone down south, which is South America, you know what I mean? Big shout out to you. You know who I mean. You know who you are, guys. So let me say big shout out to you. Hope all is well. And I'll say it's been hot in Europe. We haven't had it so hot here, but it may come, you know what I mean? But it seems to be hot in all different parts of the world, you know what I mean? The world seems to be getting hotter and hotter all the time, and we don't know why this is. But we don't know why that is. Scientists say they know, but, you know, they don't know. And as I say, it's what's on your mind. And I'll tell you this now. Let me just do this now. I've got a lot of things on my mind. But if I was to say all the things that's on my mind today, there wouldn't be time. And it would blow up the internet. Trust me. So I better leave that one and put it back here. I better put it back here because it would blow up the internet. And we don't want to do that. I know. Anyway, as I say, we on our program this week, we got a very, very special guest. She sings with the Cool Notes from London. She has her own singing career, and she's been around for many, many years. And, you know, she's going to tell us, have a little chat with us, and she's going to tell us where she's actually going and how things going, and the music she's actually making. I mean, so we welcome our wonderful Miss Heather Haywood. Miss Heather Haywood, are you there? Let me say good afternoon.
Good, thank you.
How's your day been?
Been a busy one.
Been a busy one.
Let's say.
Yeah.
Been a busy one for me, yeah.
Let me say welcome to Breakthrough TV. And
thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out. Because I know, as
no
you say,
no problem.
It's been very, very busy. So let me say thank you for actually taking the time out.
My pleasure.
Much, yeah. So what have you been up to?
Well, wow, over the years, lots of things.
I know
Where do I start?
I know
do I start at the beginning or do I start right now at the end?
Start somewhere. Let's start at the beginning. And
the beginning.
The beginning of my. I know who you are, and we all know who you are.
Yeah.
So let's go back to say the 80s, when it was actually when you appeared on Top of the Pops, with the Cool Notes and all that sort of thing, that sort of groove.
Yeah. Okay. Back in the day, you know, the Top of the Pops, that was a big one for us because don't forget, we used to be a lovers rock band when we first begun.
Yeah.
So we transitioned, we changed. Well, we used to do soul as well in our live gigs. I started with the band at 15, and the band had started a long time before me because the guys started when they were about 14, I think. So there's a couple of years difference between the girls and the guys. And so they started from school with the band. And then we had different girls. I was the last girl to join the band. So there used to be three girls in the band. So the
Mm-hmm.
band used to be an eight-piece band, not a seven-piece at one stage. Then two girls dropped out. Lorraine was left, and then I joined the band from an audition that they put in the newspaper. And yes, and I was 15, still at school and everything else. And yeah, my
I, I,
journey began then.
I was gonna say because you're very young. How was it for
Yeah.
you at that sort of age? Very, very young.
I know. It was, I mean, it's difficult when you've got parents who are strict, especially a
Mm-hmm.
dad that's very strict. So I had to make sure I did all my chores and make sure I still went to school and did everything that I needed to do so that I could get to do the rehearsals and things like that. When I got to 16, and, I was able to move around a little bit more, but still under the thumb of, the house and stuff like
The
that. But,
house.
we had a manager. Stephen's dad was like a father to all of us. So he
Okay.
used to look after us.
Okay.
So yeah.
And who was Stephen's
And then
Stephen's dad? You say Stephen's dad.
Stephen McIntosh, he's the leader. He was the leader of the band, Mr. McIntosh.
Okay.
Glenn, yeah, he's passed away a few years
Was he
back
rela-
now.
was he related to Carl McIntosh from Loose Ends? Was he
No, no,
related to
no,
him?
he's not. No. The thing is, this funny thing is, everybody thinks that Stephen's son, Bradley McIntosh from S Club 7,
Yeah.
they think that Carl McIntosh is Bradley's dad, but it's
That's
actually Stephen from my band. That's his
oh,
father.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, I mean, mm,
Karen.
yeah, I was telling you about the journey.
Yeah.
As I said, I joined the band thinking that it was a soul band and it was a reggae band at the time. Wasn't disappointed. It was different because I used to like Aretha Franklin and like my Shaka Khan's and people like that. That was the sort of people I sort of aspired to. But hey, Lovers Rock was good. It was cool. We did a few soul numbers when we did live gigs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ours was a journey. We learned the hard way. We
Yeah.
grafted.
Yeah.
So vocals were, our vocals were natural vocals. We didn't have auto tune and
Auto
things like
tune.
they've got now. We had to make sure everything was sung in tune, even if it took all night. Most of the time, it did take all night for us to basically do everything. Sometimes you're rolling out of the studio like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning just because we couldn't get one note. And we had to get that one note or whatever it was. But yeah, we learned our craft. Let's just say we learned our craft.
Yeah.
And it was fun doing it.
Yeah.
It was like a big family. We're
Yeah.
all similar ages and we all grew up together. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What are some of the places at the particular time you used to play in London? I presume.
Oh, we played everywhere, you name it. When we started, we
Mm.
did a lot more gigs like in Birmingham, Huddersfield, and places like that. And that
Mm.
was when I was like a little teenager.
Yeah.
But then as our journey began, when we transitioned and became the soul band, had the big hits and stuff like that,
Yeah.
we did like the Dominion Theatre, the Hammersmith Empire, or the Hammersmith Odeon, and places like that. We
Mm.
did all the major venues, all the major ones. You name it, we did them all. Yeah,
Mhm, mhm. And you made it to Top of the Pops.
we did Top of the Pops. Yes, we did. We did Top of the Pops about 3 times, I think it was. So yeah, because we had Spend the Night, which
Yes.
was our biggest hit. That went to straight to number 11 in the national charts. And then we
Yes.
had In Your Car that came straight after that, which went to number 13,
Yeah.
which was really good. And then we had a few other minor hits after that. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel at a particular period of time?
I
Having,
suppose because,
sorry, having all
you,
those
you
hits
know,
and being on Top of the Pops, which was one of the most popular music show at that particular
oh,
period of time.
I'm telling you, the thing is, having that show and meeting all the different artists, like Kenny
Mhm.
G and all these other bands, backstage, it was wow. It was like an eye opener. It was what we did so many years in the music industry. Well, we'd only been in the in that field for like maybe about 5, 6 years,
Mhm.
and coming up and doing this with big artists and people like that, it was amazing. But we never had time to enjoy it though. That's the thing, because we were a band that played out often,
Yeah,
and so if we went from Top of the Pops, we'd go straight to another gig somewhere.
that's right. Yeah.
So enjoying ourselves. It was difficult. So when people used to say, don't you go clubbing and stuff like that, no, we didn't, because it was all about doing PAs. We had hundreds of PAs we used to do every weekend, or even during the week. We did
Yeah.
every PA around the country, out of this country, Germany, everywhere. We travel the world.
And I was going to ask you, what was it like being on the road for a young lady at
uh,
that particular period of time?
You know what? It was
Wow.
amazing because we had, like I said to you, we had our manager, our manager with us, our personal manager. He was
Mhm.
like our dad. He kept
Yeah.
us in check. So it's like having your father, on the gigs with you everywhere we went. So it was nice. It was tiring, mind you, but it was going from different hotels to this hotel, meeting this one, meeting all the different stars and things like that. It, although we never got to enjoy meeting these people,
Mhm.
because they were just like musicians to us. When you meet people like Cool and the Gang and the SOS band, and we played with Clear, we supported Clear and Atlantic Star and people like that. You don't get time to actually enjoy them,
That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
because we were, I suppose, looking at you know, our own history as such, because we're making history with all these big artists.
Yeah. 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 This is absolutely marvelous. And you also break out into what we call like a solo career after
Yes, I've got a solo
after.
career as well. I've had a solo career for about 12 years or more.
Yeah.
Even before that, actually, even before that, 89, I had a solo career because I was signed to Polydor for
Okay.
a couple of years. So I had a couple of hits, and then I went and I did lots of work in France and places like that. I used to do lots of vocals for different producers and stuff. So I used to travel to France and do vocals and stuff, record lots of different stuff for people. And I've worked with lots of French producers. I've worked with, oh, you name them. I've been working with them. And I had my own album. I did my own album. I'm going to do my own album as well, another one. But I'm currently working on the Cool Notes album.
Fantastic. You also met and work with Whitney Houston, the greats.
Oh yes, amazing. Yeah,
What was
that
that
was
like?
that was in Germany. Oh, Whitney Houston was absolutely amazing. I'll tell you a story about
Hmm.
that whole meeting. When we
Yeah.
were in Germany and we met her, that was the first. I can't remember the song that she was singing, but anyway, that was her first hit that she had. And we were all on the same stage. We had all these different artists. The show was actually going out to about 100 million people around Europe,
Yeah.
so that made it even more so. It was a massive, big show. It's called Peter's Pop Show. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see, and you put in Peter's Pop Show 1985, Whitney Houston and the Cool Notes, you'll see it comes up there. And we come on stage when she's doing her song at the end, and we all sort of roll on the stage with her and
Yeah.
sing with her and stuff like that. But
Great.
after we met her,
Hmm.
we had an offer from Arista USA.
Yeah.
They wanted to sign us up after meeting us. So they wanted to sign the band for like 5 million back then in
Wow.
1985.
Wow.
And well, we didn't know about it. Our managers knew about it. Our business manager knew about it, but we didn't. There was lots of wranglings going on, lots of things behind the scenes, and in the end, we never got to sign we
You never
signed the
got to sign
contract,
it.
but it was broken because our business manager broke it because he wanted something that they couldn't offer.
Mm.
So
How
yeah.
did you feel about that?
But well, I'm telling you, the band was really, that was the beginning stages of the band becoming like we start to slim down the band.
Yeah.
So from a 7 piece we went to a 5 piece. From
Yeah.
a 5 piece we went to a 4 piece, and there it stayed. And then it went to a 3 piece
Yeah.
eventually. But it broke a lot of people in the band. Although some members of the band, because they wrote the tracks and stuff like that,
Mm.
had really good publishing deals and things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, some of us made it through. I made it through because I'm a singer and stuff like that. The
Yeah.
other guys who are musicians, it was a little bit more difficult for them because it was their life. They grew up in the band. So when our manager started to slim down the band and get rid of people, it was a difficult one. And there's nothing that I could do. I kept seeing it, thinking, "Am I going to be next? Is he going to get rid?" But no, the girls wouldn't go. It's the guys that would go because we were the front. We were the focal point of the band.
Yeah. I see that. you also had
It was difficult.
I can imagine that. You also had some probably earlier before. You had some associate with Pete Waterman from Stock Aitken and
Yeah,
Waterman.
Pete Waterman. That
Um,
came after.
that
Yeah,
came
that
after.
came after. Yeah, he signed us up, but I didn't actually stay. It was Lorraine, Stephen, and Joe that
Mm,
stayed. I went on, moved on to, and I did a solo career. I went and left that for a bit, and I came back after they decided to leave Pete Waterman that long. The problem is with Pete Waterman and the Cool Notes, it didn't actually work out.
okay.
They didn't release anything for the Cool Notes. They
Okay.
just sort of shelved everything that the Cool Notes did.
All right. And that was
Hmm.
that was not the Stock Aitken and Waterman thing. It was
Yes,
I
the
think it was
same
PL.
people,
Was
same
it
people.
okay? I thought it was the
PWO,
PML.
PWO,
Yeah,
yeah,
PWL Empire.
PWO,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I suppose they
Oh,
were
that's
just looking for people at the time, chucking money at people making music, but not actually doing anything with the cool.
yeah.
They did nothing with the Cool Notes.
And then
Although
you had
we do have a back catalogue with them.
yeah, and then you had people like Kylie, Jason Donovan, and all them came after, and even
No, no,
Sunita.
no. They were before.
That was
They were
before.
before.
That was before.
Yeah, they were before. They were
Okay.
they were already established. Yeah,
All right.
and
Oh,
Mel and Kim and people like that were with Stock Aitken and Waterman.
was yeah.
So
That's
they
right.
had
That's
all
right.
these people well before. And what was it, Princess? The Say I'm Your Number One, the singer that said Say
Yeah.
I'm Your Number
That
One.
one. Yeah. Know
Yeah,
her
she was
well.
with them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
marvelous. And let me ask you then, what made you wanted to be a singer, an entertainer? Hard question.
Yeah.
And a musician.
I, you know,
What made you want to do that?
I, you know, I didn't want to be a singer when I was about 8 years old, 9 years old. I wanted to be an air hostess. That's what I
All
wanted, or a
right.
teacher.
All
Or a
right.
teacher, because my family are all teachers. My
Okay.
brothers, they're all teachers. My sister, she went into, she did a business degree. I did a teaching degree as well. After the Cool Notes and stuff like that. Um, so we were all teachers. But in the beginning, I wanted to be an air hostess, like all little girls want to be air hostess. Then I heard Aretha Franklin singing. Then I heard the Jackson Five, and I think, oh, this sounds good. And then I used to do lots of concerts at school, and so they used to rope me in to do all these different things. And then one guy at my school, we had a little band. I was about 13, a little
Yeah.
group at school.
Yeah.
So that's when I started my actual singing venture. We went to a studio, Owen Gray Studio. I think I was about 13 at the time. And he had a song called Over the Rainbow, I think it was called. And
Okay.
the guy was meant to be the lead singer. And the other two girls were just going to be backing vocalists. So we got to the studio now, and he started singing. The engineer said, no, no, you can't sing. And the next girl sing. So she started singing. He said, no, 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 you can't sing. Then he said, you know what, we'll give it one more try. We'll give you a shot. So if you could sing. And then I started singing. He said, now we found somebody that can sing. Okay, so I cut my first record at 13
Wow.
at the Owen Gray Studio.
What,
But they wanted to sign me up, but my dad wouldn't allow it at the time.
what was the name of the
That
track?
was it was called Over the Rainbow, but it
Okay.
didn't come out. It didn't
All
come
right.
out because the guy that was the leader of the little group that we had. He didn't want to use it because he wasn't the singer. That's why.
All right.
So it never came out.
So you're getting the ego thing going on there.
But he was only like 14, wasn't he?
Well,
So 14, 15. So he didn't really want, he didn't want a female. He didn't want me to be the singer.
well,
But
no.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Funny.
just,
It was funny. Funny.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Tell us about your solo project. When you're coming to be like a solo, do a solo project on your own.
Well, I did, I've done about 4 solo projects so far.
Mm,
I've worked with a, a guy called Nicky B, and I
okay.
had 2 tracks in France, 2017, called "Give It Up," and yeah, "Give It Up" was one that was a big track in
Yeah.
France. And then
Okay.
I worked with another guy. Somebody asked me to, got in contact with me via Messenger, and said to me, "We're Cool Million and we love your music. We're big fans of the Cool Notes. We would like you to work with us." So I said, "Oh, okay, Cool Million." I said, "I know your name." But anyway, So I said, "What would you like me to do?" They said, "Well, we've got a track. We're going to send it to you. You have to write to it." So I wrote to it, and I wrote the track, and so all the 100% of the track was mine, um, and that became a number one UK soul chart, and it went into quite a few of the charts over here as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it did very well with them. It's the only number one that they've had so far. And this is from last year. So yeah, last July it was number one in the UK soul charts.
Yeah, that's a great track.
And I went another some another duo called AP Connection. Now
Yeah.
they work with Joyce Sims. Joyce Sims was on their album,
Mhm.
and they also had a few big American stars on their album. This was not last year, year before, and that album went to, I think, number one as well in the UK soul charts and quite a few different charts as well. And
Yeah.
I had a track on there as well. I'm now working again with these guys.
Mhm.
We've got a really nice sort of slow song. It's quite slow R&B track coming out as well. And that's going to be out on their album. I'm not sure when, but look out for it. It's called The Right Time, that
Yeah.
one. And then I've got another one with Sugar Rainbow Funk. That one's out this week, at the end of this week. That's called
Okay.
Think About.
Okay. Great. How do you find it
As
writing
for the
songs?
corner,
Sorry. 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 How?
yeah, yeah, I do write, yeah.
I say, how do you find it writing songs?
Well, I suppose if I hear, it's the chorus that comes to me. The title comes to me first,
Mhm.
and then I work around the title of the song.
Yeah.
So, but then it takes a little bit, it takes a while to frame the song. So
Yeah.
when I go into the studio and start singing it,
Mhm.
that's when the actual magic happens, because then all the lyrics that I've got written down might not be in the song because I've taken them out and put in what I think is right for that song.
Yeah. And it's it is. It's can be very very strange like that, isn't it? Do you enjoy you?
It's
Of course
strange,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, of course you enjoy. Do you enjoy writing?
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I write from what I think. I write from the heart, basically. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Uh,
And I write about real things. I don't write about fake things and
oh,
stuff like
you
that.
don't write
I
about.
write, yeah, I write about life. I write
Yeah.
about, well, love. I write about, yeah, the right time.
Yeah. What about writing? Because some people write from the basis of they put themselves in that situation without being in that situation.
Yes, I've done that on my album. I did an album 2012, and a few tracks on there was about my situation at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I think a lot of us do that. We
Yeah.
write from how we feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
I write songs as well, and I saw that there's this track I got which I actually put myself into the track, and somebody said to me,
Okay.
That's happening to you." I says, "No, I write about myself within that track, but I've never experienced it."
Now, well, the thing is, if I'm going to write about myself in a track, I'm going to put down the things that I've experienced. But and yeah, that would be me.
Yeah. And tell us who are some of the great writers or people you've actually worked with in the business.
Oh wow. Who have we worked with? We've worked with so many different people. We've worked with Loose Ends. We've worked with
Ah,
Soul
the
to Soul.
whole,
We've worked, yeah.
what was it
We,
like
you
working
know,
with
with
loose ends or soul to soul?
Loose Ends. Yeah, Loose Ends are really, really, really cool. Yeah, and Karen Wheeler. We used to work with her as well.
Marvelous.
Um, yeah, the amazing people. We all come from the same generation and same era.
Yeah,
So back then we all got on very well.
yeah, yeah. What I actually liked about that period of time is the fact
Mm.
before that we was all listening to the American sound, even though we still do.
Yes,
And
yes.
we never sort of really see like a great funk band or a great soul band before that in the UK from UK home base. So when you
Mm, mm,
guys, Loose Ends, yourself,
yeah,
the group, the Cool Notes,
yeah,
all those artists, we've
yeah.
landed. Yes,
Yes,
and that's what I liked
absolutely.
about the whole period of time. Yeah,
When we did spend the night, there was
yeah,
a DJ. Well, I can't remember his name, but he was in the studio when we were recording, and he's on My Soul Radio actually now, and
yeah.
he basically said, "Ooh." that track sounds really good. Is that an American track? The, he said, because that track's going to be a big hit. That was Spend the Night. And
Yeah,
he said, well, we said, no, it's our track. It's not American. And it's, so he said, that's going to be massive. That's what happened.
it
The
is.
Pirates played us. We just, it's the Pirates back then. The Pirates are the ones that played all the soul music back then
Mm,
and pushed us to the charts because we didn't have any help from the major record radio stations or anything like that. We basically had to do it on our own through the Pirates and PAs and things like that. That's how we managed to, become who we are today.
yeah. And it was hard getting to the big giants, who we all know who they are. That big
Yeah.
giants.
Yeah, yeah.
You- you-
The thing is, we had so many of the big recording companies after us,
mm,
but it was our manager that blocked them.
why?
So that was he wanted he had a recording company, so he wanted us to go through his company, but the major recording companies give him the money, so he becomes like a subsidiary of them.
I
And they said
understand.
no, no. We had CBS, we had RCA, we had them all. We had them all chasing us,
Yeah, because
and that's why.
it was a great band. It was a great band.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
And it was a great
absolutely.
soul funk band. And I say, in the
Yeah,
UK, there wasn't a lot of that side of sound homegrown
nah,
from the UK
no,
at that particular period of
no,
time. Yeah, it wasn't
yeah,
happening. So as I say, when you
no, that's
guys,
true.
as I said before, you guys sold out Loose Ends yourselves, the Cool Notes,
Yeah,
all those
yeah.
bands, Karen Wheeler,
Ja-
um,
Yeah, Jackie Graham and all them
Jackie
were all the
Graham,
same time as us. Yeah,
Princess,
yeah.
all those,
Princess, that's right.
which
Yeah,
was homegrown. You
yeah,
guys actually landed, and it was great. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was
absolutely,
really, really cool.
absolutely
It was really
marvelous,
cool.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I say you keep
You know,
carrying.
when you look back on all these things, the journey hasn't finished.
No,
Because
no,
we're
of
still
course not.
working.
Yeah,
I still sing. I'm working every weekend anyway. Most weekends I'm doing gigs and things like that. Or if I'm not doing gigs, I'm in the studio. So
yeah,
there's always something being done. So I've always been a singer, for over like 40 years now. I started when I was like 13. So,
wow,
well, even before that, I started singing. So I was doing competitions at 10 years old. So, yeah.
marvelous.
So I've been in the business now for a long while.
A long time. So, who are some of your giants? I call giants of music, the really good guys, the giants who influence you. I know Aretha,
Oh,
of course.
like I said to you, Shaka Khan,
Yeah,
Whitney Houston, one of
yeah,
my big influences. People like Patti LaBelle, um, the SOS band. I love anything funky. We worked with people like the Cool and the Gang, and the SOS band, and Atlantis Star. All these people. There's a band called Clear Intimate Connections. They did a track. We
yeah,
were we were on. We supported them. These are the people that we really look up to. Luther Vandross, yeah, all those
marvelous,
guys.
marvelous, marvelous.
Yeah, yeah, we really, yeah. The journey's still going. Carl.
Yeah,
The journey's still there.
of course it is, of course it is. That's
The
why
journey's still there.
it is going. And I say, and you're still working, and you're still doing different things, and you still got a lot of projects. And you tell me you work on radio.
Yeah, I
Is that
do
what
a radio station. Well, yeah, we do Street Sounds Radio.
yeah,
Morgan Khan. He was one of the first guys back in the day with him and Steve Walsh.
yeah,
We used to do a lot of soul nights out with them. We used to do like the coach rides to Liverpool and places like that, and do lots of these big shows with them. And Morgan Khan's now got his own radio station called Street Sounds Radio.
yeah,
They're in Southend on Sea, but we do a remote show from Stephen's house. It's Saturday and Sunday. We do like the morning slot, the breakfast
yeah,
show, 8 till 10 o'clock.
yeah. Wow,
I would be on this week as well, 8 till 10 on
that's
a
great.
Saturday and on Sunday as well.
That's great. Okay, how do you see music now from what we call the good old 80s? I'm not saying what you're doing, how the music has changed into sort of different groove. Because you could do reggae, you could do pop, you could do soul, you
Yeah.
could do
Mm,
everything at that particular
mm,
time. And I've always
mm,
said all the artists from the 60s and the 70s sort of was all playing and getting better and better by all the time. And in the
mm.
80s, it all hits
Yeah,
very perfectly well.
that's right.
How do you see that?
Absolutely. Well, the thing is with music nowadays,
Yeah,
music is more electronic.
yeah,
Yeah. Although if you're an American band, they're still very much into live musicians.
that's right.
Americans always believe that you have to have live musicians. But over here, we do a lot of electronic music and stuff
Mhm.
like that, digitize everything. So you can just have one person playing the keyboards, or you got sounds, you can just pull up different sounds and make a record, make a track.
Yeah,
So it's very different. And vocals are very different now
yeah,
because you can sing, everybody can sing because all they've got to do is change your vocal, because there's things that the vocal changes on the on the programs and things, so you can be singing out of tune, but it will tune you up as you're singing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it will bend your notes as well.
yes,
So yeah, it's very different to how we did our craft. We
yeah,
did our craft the right way, so that's
yeah.
probably why we're more longevity,
That's
and
true.
these
That's
ones
true.
would not be, they're not, a lot of them are not around
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, it's like one of the some of the songs you hear now. You know what I mean? Away from you
Yeah,
guys who still make music, who still makes good music. Some of the sound you hear now, you think, oh, I couldn't listen to that in 18 months
I
time.
know. It's true, but you
And that's
won't,
not
because
knocking
it's
anyone.
not. But it's not there in 8 months' time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just it.
And
Because
and
people have forgotten that track.
yeah, and the melody's not there. The
No.
groove's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
I think, the difference with us back then is that everybody had an individual sound.
yeah,
Yeah. Everybody knew the cool notes, or they knew loose ends, or they knew soul to soul, or they knew Jackie Graham, or they knew all the bands, because everybody was different. Like all the Americans had a different sound.
yes,
But now, when you listen to singers, everybody wants to sound like a Rihanna or a Beyonce, or they want to sound like this, or their favorite person. So
yeah,
there's no individuality
yeah.
with a lot of singers nowadays.
It's
In
true.
America, you still got the individuality because Americans they can top it.
Yeah.
But in
Have you?
Britain, I find that we do have a little bit of a problem, especially with the mainstream music. Not
Yeah,
talking about black music, I'm talking about mainstream music, because
that's right.
everybody, it's now become the uh, black music, origin of black music.
Hmm.
So anybody can sing black music or soul music,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to actually bring it across, don't get me wrong, there's some amazing British singers,
Yes, there is.
Caucasian
There is.
singers that can
Yeah.
sing. They
Hmm.
can sing, um, but they're not us, basically. They're
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah.
I'm not putting a dampener down on anybody, because
Yeah.
I think everybody has, has a way into the music business, and everybody wants to really achieve something in life, and
Yeah.
that's good, and I
Yeah.
think that's really good.
Yeah.
But I think, black music in this country at the moment is not like how it used to be.
No.
I
No.
think if you notice, a lot of British music is not being heard
No.
like it should be. There's
That's
so
right.
many talented black British artists in this
Very.
country. You don't hear half of them. You
No.
see some of them,
Yeah.
but you don't see the ones that are actually amazing. I've gone out and I've listened to some vocalists, amazing. They blow the socks off of you. They
Yeah.
sound like Americans,
Yeah.
you know, absolutely amazing. And that's why we've got to look to the future and actually encourage a lot of them to, hold fast, because the music industry is different. It's
Yeah.
not like it used to be. You used to be able to earn a lot of money back in the day. Now you have to work. You have to do live gigs to make any money. You don't make money from sales of records, because you could make 10,000 records and get into a number one and the iTunes charts and things like that. So before, when we were number 11, we had to sell over 50,000 records to get to number 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot different. It's changed.
It is. How do you see as how can we encourage the sort of sound you're talking about, the sort of talent you're talking about? How can we encourage it? How can we do that?
Well, I think there's so many. There are lots of young people coming up, and they are encouraged. They have people around them
Hmm.
that are looking out for them as well. Um, a lot of them go to a lot of these places, singers' places,
Hmm.
um, you know, um, where they just go and they what do they call them there? They Everybody likes to, it's not karaoke, not karaoke. There's a full live band on stage. and everybody would get up and do a song of their own. But then there's somebody there that's listening to them, and
Yeah.
they mold them and look after them.
Is
I
that
have a
like
lot of friends like that. Yeah.
an open mic session?
Open mic sessions, yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of open mic sessions.
Yeah.
There's some really. I used to host one in Troy in Shoreditch called the Troy Bar.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of singers come from, in the Troy Bar. And I used to host one in Piccadilly as well. So there's back in the 2005, 2006, 2008, you have lots of open mic, really good open mic places that used to listen to a lot of amazing vocalists.
Yeah. That's great. Absolutely great. You talk about
But
America. Sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead. Karen. Karen.
You were saying how can we help the young ones?
Yeah.
Well, we've got to we have to direct them. Yeah, we have to show them how it is, and how it is to be like we are, longevity in the music business. Not just we. See, the thing is, we've done our craft, and we want to show them how it actually works, and um, how not to be conned, how not to want fame straight away because it doesn't work that way, and how not to get dejected or feel, because I haven't made it, they're going to drop out. No, we want you to stay. And, if you're amazing, we want you in the business because we need you in the business.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You talk about America. What was it like you going to the States?
States were amazing. You know, they well, it's different. It's, you're like a fish out of water when you go to America.
It is a big place, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, you think they say that every American can sing, even if
Yeah.
they're singing out of tune, they're singing from the heart. And Americans, they can sing. They
They
listen
got
to you.
soul.
That's where the soul is.
They got
That's where the soul
soul.
is. Listen, I am telling you. And with me, I listen, I learn from the best, and they are some of the best. Patti LaBelle, my favorite. I love her, how she hits those notes. Shaka Khan, my girl. Whitney Houston. If you're going to sing, you got to sing out. You got to belt it, and that's me. I'm a little bit of a belter. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you love the States.
I love the stage.
It's,
I am.
and you,
My
and you
my
never,
life is a stage.
I got to say, you never thought of leaving, and you know, zip.
Well, I sort of slowed down on it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then when I remember when I had my son, I left the business for a little bit,
Mm.
and then I thought, oh, I need to get back into this. I can't because I wasn't in the band then, and then I rejoined them. I left them and then I rejoined. So yeah, well, they wanted me to rejoin anyway. So yeah, it was just a
Yeah.
temporary sort of measure,
Yeah.
having children and stuff like that. So yeah,
No, you have to do that. Yeah, so and
yeah.
it will rub things. Yeah.
Well, music. If music is in your soul, like music's always been a part of me. It's
Mm.
been my life. It's
Mm.
almost like it's a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Um, it's how I think. You
Yeah.
know, it's how I make people happy.
Right. Right.
It's everything. I'm like a be all and end all to everybody and to myself.
Yeah. It's give you that release. It's
Yeah,
a bit like running.
absolutely.
It's a bit like jogging. You frees your mind,
Yeah,
frees your whole body. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can lose yourself in the vocals and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
You go somewhere else, which is absolutely
Yeah,
which is
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
which is absolutely marvelous. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. It's absolutely great. If I tell you. And I'd
yeah,
say,
yeah.
what have you got? Tell us what you actually got coming out again.
Well, the cool notes. We're doing our album. The album's
Yeah.
nearly finished. It's taken forever because Stephen's always on holiday.
Um.
Him and his wife are always on holiday. But yeah. But now I think we've got two more tracks left to do. But the album is amazing. I think when people hear this album, it's well worth the listen. And then I've got two other tracks coming out with two other producers. One coming out, I think it's this weekend. It's coming out. It's called Think About. It's with Sugar Rainbow and myself. We wrote the song together,
Yeah.
and then there's another one I've got coming out with AP Connection. This one's called The Right Time. It's not finished at the moment. I've done all the vocals. They're just finishing the music and all the fine touches.
And what's the lineup for that band? For the band now, the Cool Notes.
For the Cool Notes, there's three of us. There's Stephen, Joe, and myself. The two
Yeah,
guys and one girl.
yeah,
So I'm the main vocalist in the band. So
yeah,
yeah, Stephen sings as well.
yeah.
So but yeah.
And what was it like, sort of touring London um, in the 80s? What was London like in the 80s?
Oh, I think London was on fire. London was amazing in the
There's there's
80s.
there's a there's a reason why I asked you that question.
London was amazing. London was the best. It had the best vibe. Music. People were so happy.
Yeah,
It was the happiest time. I think the 80s, 85, around that time was the happiest time. Everybody loved everybody. It was music of love. Yeah. You could go into a club. You could. It was amazing. That's my era. I love the 80s. I
yeah,
love the vibe. No trouble. Everybody wanted to, go out to enjoy themselves. It was the best time we've ever had.
yeah, yeah.
Those years will never come back.
No, there's a reason why I asked you that. And I recall
Go.
because we're from up north.
Okay.
I
You're up
remember
north. Where are you from? What part?
Birmingham. It's
Oh,
north. It's
I said,
not.
yeah,
It's
Birmingham.
not. It's not to London, isn't it?
We did a lot. We worked in Birmingham quite a lot. We
Where in
did a lot of
Birmingham
gigs
you
in
worked?
Birmingham.
Where in Birmingham?
If I can, I can't even. All I know is Spaghetti Junction and all that. Garage Spaghetti Junction, all those places.
You probably work at
We
places like the
listen,
night out. The night outs, possibly the night out at that particular time. Dolce Vita,
possibly.
and all those sort of clubs that was around in
Yeah,
Birmingham city
possibly.
centre at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
more
You
than
know what I
likely.
mean? And
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we did loads of gigs up in Sheffield, Birmingham, Manchester, you name it. We went Newcastle, all them places.
Yeah,
Crazy.
far up north.
Yeah, far north. That's right. Yeah,
I was
far north.
saying, I was saying about London. I recall
Yeah.
when I went to London, as I said, I'm from Birmingham, and when I went to London, um, my days, it was different to what I had
Oh,
used to in the
London.
north.
Ah, yeah.
Something, something dropped on me, and the
Oh, what?
style, and the ladies' clothes. It was a
Oh,
different
yes.
world.
Yes. The clothes was amazing.
Amazing, the whole fashion scene. We
We
coming
had
from
the
up
fashion.
north.
Yeah, it's true. We always used to say people up north can't dress. we,
Stop it,
we,
stop it.
it's true. We used to see the men with short trousers. But when, we used to say, come down to London, we teach you how to dance and how to dress. But you
Yeah,
know something?
yeah,
Saying all that, I love Birmingham because we work with a lot of bands, like a band called Bashara. They're from Birmingham.
yeah, Bashara, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
they did some stuff with the Cool Notes back in the day.
yeah.
Um, and amazing. I just love the Brummie way. The Brummie, you guys are so friendly. London is not friendly.
No, London
London
is
is not friendly.
fast. It's so fast up there.
It's very
And
fast. That's right.
I'm not going to talk about the driving.
Ah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to talk about the driving up there.
Crazy. Well, I would have thought that Birmingham is even faster now.
It's got a lot better. It's got a lot faster compared to back in the
Yeah,
day.
you've nearly caught up to us. You caught
Yeah,
up to
yeah,
us
yeah.
now
Absolutely, absolutely.
because you're like the second city.
Yeah.
Birmingham after
Not,
London is
not
the second
like
city.
we are the second city.
That's right. You are the second city. You're just like us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've actually,
definitely. You can't get away from us. Just like the accent's different.
yeah, it's a great place to be. It's actually a great place to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Birmingham. Yeah, I love Birmingham.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
used to go there quite a lot. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
As I said,
Nice
it's
people.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Of course, it's absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. Anyway, my time is actually coming to a close. So I want
Yeah.
to say thank you for taking
Thank you
part.
so much, Carl.
Yeah, you're welcome. Taking the time out. Anything else you want to tell us?
Uh, well, just listen out for the album. The album's going to be coming out soon, and the
Mm,
new tracks right time. And so yeah, just keep a check on us. I'm on Facebook, so if you want to
mm.
check me out, I'm Heather Haywood on Facebook, and I'm H Heather on HH on Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter. So just check me out on all of these platforms.
Marvelous. Well, let me say thank you
Yeah.
for taking the time out. And
Thank you so much,
I know it's,
Carl.
you enjoy yourself?
I
Yeah,
did. And thank you for contacting me and
yeah.
asking me to do this interview.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
don't have a nickname.
You don't have any. Why is that?
I heard you say about the nickname of the Viagra.
Is- that was last that was last week's guest. Are you sure?
Actually, they used to call Lorraine and myself Pinky and Perky
Pinky and Perky.
because
Lauren
when
was
we
the other.
used to do the reggae songs, they
Lauren
used to
was the
call
other
us Pinky
singer.
and Perky.
Sorry, Lauren was the other singer. In the
Yeah,
band.
she was the other singer. Yeah,
What
yeah,
is she doing
yeah.
now?
She's working with Shalimar. She's a backing vocalist for Shalimar.
Well, it's funny. I was going to mention something about Shalimar because Shalimar is celebrating the 40th,
40 Yeah,
40th
yeah,
anniversary of the first album,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
And then
And Lorraine's one of their backing vocals.
okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah, yeah.
marvelous.
I mean, she's still in the music industry, so she's doing something that she's enjoying.
Yeah, yeah. You doing any shows, concerts? What are you doing? I know you're doing the
We
music.
will
and
be.
everything.
Right now, we're concentrating on the album, but I do like gigs and stuff with other people, with bands and stuff. So I go out and maybe do like PAs and things like that. But yeah, once we get the gigs, we've got some gigs coming up, but they're not finalized at the moment. So
Yeah.
once I know, I will, mention it, let you know.
Yeah.
I'll message you.
And if you're coming to my town, let me know.
Oh, 100%. We were supposed to come up to your town not too long ago, but the actual tour got cancelled. Oh, never
Okay.
mind. One of those things. One of those
Okay.
things.
Let me say once again, Heather,
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you,
yourself.
everyone.
God bless you.
Take care. Have a nice week.
I should say,
Take care.
anybody you want to say hello to? Family, friends?
Hello. I want to say hello to Stephen, the band member, and Joe, and to my kids, Mickey, Natalie, Aaron, and yeah, and anybody that if they know me, they can say hello to me. I
Hello
can't
to
remember. Yeah, say hello to everyone. Hello to everyone who's listening to the show, who's watching the show as well.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
look at
you.
yourself.
Thanks
you
a
very
lot,
much.
Carl.
Bye-bye.
You take
Bye.
care. Bye
You
bye.
take care. Nice having you. Respect.
And you.
Right, guys, there you have it. So, you see how it works, guys. So, don't forget, if you want to come in and tell us about your whole musical journey, you are quite welcome to do so right here on Breakthrough TV. Yeah, I want to say thanks to all you guys who actually support the program, and thanks to my wonderful guest, Heather Haywood. And as I say, Heather Haywood was originally with the Cool Notes. She started with a reggae band, and then she was with the Cool Notes, and there was a reggae band before they actually changed to like what we call soul and funky band. And as I say, you see her whole journey. So if you want to come and tell us your journey, and as I say, promote any shows you've got, you can come here and do it right at Breakthrough TV. Just hook us up. BreakthroughTV@gmail.com, or if you know my number, or you know where to find me. I'm everywhere. Believe it or not, I'm even places I don't even know where I was. And you can actually find me there. Yeah? As I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. I want to say a big shout out to Mr. G Cross down there in Jamaica. So big shout out to you. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program, and I know you always look out for the program. Let me say big thank you to also Mr. Gabidan. I want to say big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. Cousin Girlie, big shout out to you up there in the United States. Let me say big shout out to you. Hector, how you doing? Jude, how you doing? Claudette, how you doing? Paula, how you doing? So many of you. Helen, how you doing? Paula, once again, how you doing? Andrea, how you doing? All your whole family. Lydie, Carl, big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. Glenn, not forgetting you, sir. Hope all is well with you. My good friend Philip, how you doing, sir? Angela Lazara, big shout out to you. Pam, big shout out to you. Back to the United States. Miss Dan, big shout out to you. Back to the United States. All the whole family up there in the United States. Let me say big shout out to you. Those that ever call you, I can't remember all of your names, so I have to leave it that way. So let me say thank you for tuning to the program. Don't forget to please share the program. Yeah. Now, I just got off a little rant. Now, there's a lady, a wonderful lady. She's actually won. She actually made history, winning her first Junior Grand Slam singles title at Wimbledon. Yes. So we want to say big shout out to you. And what I've noticed, she hasn't sort of get the accolade that she actually deserves. You don't see it anywhere. And I went on social media this morning and yesterday, and a lot of people say they didn't see it. And so one lady was actually commenting that you guys need to fix up. And she's an American. I'm not saying that's the reason why she wasn't all over the papers or what we call the press, but it seems she hasn't get the publicity that she actually deserved for winning such a great championship. And we wonder why. And one lady actually says, is it just because, maybe because are they just concentrating on the older people at Wimbledon? Yeah, are they just concentrating on the older people there or the stars there? But you can't keep always doing that. There's nothing wrong in concentrating on the stars. But you've also got to concentrate on the younger people who's actually doing very, very well, no matter where they're coming from, because they are the future. We hear this many, many times. Yes, as I said, they are the future. And they give inspiration to other young people. Yes, so as I said, this wonderful lady didn't get as much publicity for winning such a champion that she should have got. And I say, I haven't seen it a lot of places. Nobody's talking about it on social media. I've heard a little bit of excuse, some silliness, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, fix up. Yes, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, also going to have a little chat about, we actually was talking about Shalamar. Shalamar is actually celebrating their 40th anniversary. And the whole thing is like, they're still selling tickets like nobody's business. Why am I talking about this? Shalamar was like one of the best bands from the 80s. We're talking about 80s. The lady that we actually has on the show, she actually comes from the 80s. So that's why I'm actually mentioning Shalamar. I said Shalamar was one of the best bands. You know what I mean? The original lineup is not the same now, but they're still going. And I got to tell you, there's Howard Hewitt, Jeffrey Daniels. Now, Howard Hewitt and Jeffrey Daniels, those are the sort of original members. There's one new lady who's another member. Jodie Watley has left many, many years ago. So, but it is said, and I've actually seen this many, many years ago, that Jeffrey Daniels, Colonel Pop, they actually called him back in the day, he actually taught Michael Jackson the moonwalk. Yes. Yes, as I say, he was actually called Pro Top. So it's good to see that. And I say Howard Hewitt is actually still there with the whole band and the whole crew. So it's actually good to see that. And I got to tell you that when Shalamar sort of split up in the early days, when they actually split before they actually reformed, it leaves a big, big gap. I'm telling you, because they had a lot of fans at that particular period of time. And I was already reading an article in Birmingham, and they came to Birmingham at the Odeon. And it was ram. It was massive. The queue was from a place called the Odeon all the way around past where the new train station is and all the way around to the back of anybody who knows a place called the Futurist. That's how long the queue was. I've been told at that particular period of time. So it's good to see Shalamar is actually still going. And as I say, Shalamar was a band that, as I say, when they actually stepped away, it left a lot of people actually disappointed, because they had such a groove, they had such a style, and everybody was sort of dressing all the Shalamar way, So it is good to see that they're celebrating. And can you imagine? It's actually 40 years, they've actually celebrating that wonderful album that they've got. So we say big, absolute big respect and big shout out to the wonderful Shalamar. Keep going, guys. Massive respect. Yeah. Don't forget, as I say, to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, I also want to talk about another lady, and I do know a lot about this lady. Now, I'm just going to pay my respect. And you hear me talk about giants of music. See, you see what I'm doing with the show? You hear me talk about giants of music. Now, my giant of music is a lady from Jamaica. She was actually born in West Kingston. Yes, her name is Marcia Lynette Griffiths. Marcia Griffiths is actually celebrating 60 years in the business of being an artist. And she has been talking to actually Dance Hall magazine, which is actually marvelous, And she actually was been telling Dance Hall magazine, she says, she actually, when she started, she started way back. I say she originally started. She had her first. She was actually working with with Barry Lee and the Dragonaires, and she was actually spotted by Cox and Dodd, and Cox and Dodd signed her. Then she actually had the first track called "Feel Like Jumping," la 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 la. That track, yes. So she had that track very very early. That was her very first main track. She also did a lot of duets with Bob Andy, including also Bob Marley, and also quite a few duets with different artists, which is actually marvelous. And then actually further on in her career, she actually get a couple more tracks going, and then she actually joined up with, have a guess, Bob Andy. Even though she had done duet with Bob Andy, she joined up with Bob Andy for a very very good period of time. Young, Gifted, and Black. Yes, that's the big shot they actually did. Originally done by the legendary Nina Simone. Then after the period of time, she actually still having a solo career. She moved on to become one of the best backing vocalists in the Bob Marley and the Wailers band, the I Trees. She come together with Judy Mott, Rita Marley, and Marcia Griffiths. Yes? So, the I Trees. Fantastic lineup. Now, I got to tell you this now. Everybody talk about Bob Marley. Bob Marley and the Wailers are great, man. But you want to tune your ears, or retune your ears sometimes, and listen to those backing vocals, how good they are. Because when you got an artist and you got a star, you sort of not listening to the backing vocals. But if you ever listen to that backing vocals of Marcia Griffiths, Judy Mott, and Rita Marley, the Icrees, absolutely fantastic. So, as I say, I am talking about the legendary Miss Marcia Griffiths. After that, Marcia Griffiths carried on, and she carried on putting out tunes, and then she did a track with, she did a original track that was actually done by Mr. Bunny Wailer. Mr. Bunny Wailer, yes. The Electric Side, the Electric Boogie. Yes, Bunny Wailer did it way back in the day, and then she actually recut it and remixed it up and re-put it, and that became what we call a dance line craze in the United States, which is the Little Electric Boogie. That track is actually being mixed, and it's actually out now. Marcia has actually continued to actually work. And as I say, she tells Dancehall magazine that she was always constant. She says, even when she was having a child, she was constant. She says even though she had 3 deaths in her family, she was constant. She was constant working, and she was constant doing it. And she says it's actually the music that actually had kept her going all over the years. So today, Marcia Griffith still makes great music, and she's actually one of my favorite artists. She's actually what I call, as I say, giant. When I talk about giant of music, that's what I am talking about. She's been there for such a long time. You know what I mean? And we pay big respect to the legendary Marcia Griffiths, born in West Kingston. And what else can I say about her? You know what I mean? So we say, we actually love, I've actually loved Marcia Griffiths for a very long time. And I gotta say, even though there has always been different reggae artists, she is like sort of the one of the main female reggae artists that I've actually known from such a long time within that period of time. So we say big shout out to you, Marcia Griffiths. And you have been this week our giants of music. Once again, let me say thank you for tuning in to Breakthrough TV. My time is almost here. Let me say thanks to my very special guests. And don't forget to catch me back next week with more guests right here on Breakthrough TV. I want to say thanks to my producer, and I say thanks to Heather Haywood, and big shout out to you. Thank you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. God bless you. Take care.